All right, I want to go to Chris Olivarez, of course, the Texas Department of Public Safety. Lieutenant, always good seeing you, my friend. All right, you know what's happening at the Arizona border. You're dealing a lot with what's happening at the Texas border. As you've told me and reminded me, the numbers don't lie. They are what they are, and they are out of control. So what's next?
Well, good morning, Neil. So, of course, what's next? That's the big question, right? Of course, going into the new year. So, we continue to see this historic influx, especially for the month of December, when historically December has always seen a decrease in apprehensions across the southwest border. But that's not the case with this current border situation, because this is not your ordinary border crisis. I think right now we need to move past it being a border crisis. We know for a fact by the numbers, by all the events that have taken place across the southwest border, increase in human smuggling, drug smuggling, unaccompanied children, children that are being smuggled and exploited and victimized. We know that this is deliberate. This is a deliberate inaction by the federal government to secure our border and to enact policies that were working, that was slowing the flow, that was preventing illegal immigrants crossing a dangerous river or a desert, or also placing their lives in the hands of dangerous criminals. But that is not the case. And I think we need to get out of this reactive posture and be proactive. And that's why we need consequences. We need to end catch and release. We need to completely end the abuse of the asylum process. That will send a message that you cannot enter the United States without having some type of credible or legitimate asylum claim. And those that do not meet that criteria, then you send them back to their home country. That will send a message, that will slow the flow. But again, that's not happening right now. And of course, that's why in Texas, we've been having to take on the responsibility for the last 3 years.
Something changes. We got a little scary. We learned from the Mexican government that the military there discovered at least 10 IEDs on some cartel members near the border. And that reignites concern that nefarious elements are getting through with no good intentions. Can you update us on what we've learned about that, what we're discovering now?
Well, absolutely. And of course, that's nothing new as far as the threats that we see across the southwest border, especially when it involves the Mexican drug cartels. That's why in Texas in October, there was a piece of land in South Texas, a 170-acre piece of land that was designated as the most dangerous area along the southwest border, because we constantly were seeing cartel fighting between rival cartels and the Mexican military. We're finding explosives. We're finding cartel members that were actually on that island in the United States, heavily armed with tactical gear, with long rifles, with explosives. So we took that piece of land over thanks to the leadership from Governor Abbott, and with the commissioner of the Texas Land Office, which is Don Buckingham, that gave us complete access of that island. But these are threats that you're seeing across the border. That's why it's so important to have border security, because border security is national security. And until we secure that border, we're going to continue seeing these threats. And it puts also the lives of our agents, Border Patrol agents, troopers, National Guardsmen, anybody across that border, puts their lives at risk, because these are the threats that are so close to the border right now.
Chris, you're used to my dumb questions. That oftentimes when we're talking to you, my friend, we're looking at live drone shots coming over the border, in this case over Eagle Pass, and invariably we see dozens, hundreds, sometimes thousands who are being processed, or there's a structure to this, I guess. And maybe you can explain what we're watching and what that process is. Obviously, migrants get to the border. You just can't go to walk through. Invariably, there's a process to it. Some do slip through. But what are we watching, and what happens when this happens?
Well, first off, when this border situation started, predominantly we're seeing families and children that were the ones that were, voluntarily surrendering to Border Patrol agents. And that was pretty much the ticket in to the United States, is if you were a family or had a child. But now, through the course of the situation on the border over the years, now we're seeing single adult men from across the globe that are making their way across the border, and they are surrendering themselves to Border Patrol agents. And that in itself should tell you and across the viewers that there is no consequences. When you have single men, single adults coming across that border from across the globe, they have no fear. They surrender themselves to Border Patrol agents because they know for a fact they're going to get released into the country with a notice to appear, which means they will not show up to a court date either 2 to 5 years from now. And of course, that process is going to build up, and it's going to back up the system. It's going to overwhelm the system. And none of these individuals are going to actually make it to their court hearing. They're going to get lost in the system as millions come across the border. And that's why that in itself is a broken system, because this is deliberate. It's by design. And you see all the trains that are coming across through Mexico with thousands of migrants that are boarding these trains, making their way through Mexico. That in itself also is another issue that we're having to deal with in Texas, trying to work with the Mexican government to stop some of these trains that are transporting these migrants across the border. So there's so many different challenges in place, but at the end of the day, Neil, it's all about consequences. You got to have consequences. You got to send a message that you have to follow the rule of law. There's many migrants that are here in the country right now that have been here for years that are trying to do it the right way. They're paying money. They're getting attorneys. They're working. And now you have all these individuals, thousands, millions at the end of the year that are coming across illegally. So it's not fair to those people that are here right now trying to do it the right way. But until we actually put a stop to this situation, we're going to continue seeing this flow, unfortunately, especially going into the new year.
Yeah, it is scary stuff. And thanks for explaining that, Chris. And you're right. People forget that this country takes in legally better than 1 million from all over the world each year and every year through Democrat administrations, Republican administrations. There is a process here, and we're very generous with that process. No other country admits as many from other countries on earth. But that process must be honored. And when it's not, you've got mayhem, just like we're seeing at the border. Chris, thanks for all your hard work in that regard. Merry Christmas, my friend.